Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back to the channel and another post-rotation deck profile. Today, let's check out Koraidon EX. So in short, Koraidon EX isn't going to be winning anytime soon. It's not as strong as any of the other decks right now, but it's a really fun sort of box-style deck. It has an incredible ability where you can attach basic energies to your basic fighting Pokemon, but your turn ends, and this is really where this deck struggles. You will have to utilize more of a box style with other attackers like Arcanine, Zapdos, and Lucario to try and get the best use out of Dino Cry, trying to go first or second, but anytime after that, it could be really, really slow and detrimental to your gameplay. So let's see the list and see how this deck can actually work and operate. So that list functions purely on using Koraidon EX's Dino Cry at first or second turn. We have loads of Ultra Ball and Trekking Shoes to get some energies into the discard pile as quick as possible to power up with Dino Cry. Our other attackers are Hisuian Arcanine, which I love. It has an amazing ability where you can just put any damage counters on to it, and you can just move from each Arcanine to each other. And you can use that to heal with Penny to pick up the Arcanine, heal all that damage off, put it down, put the energies back onto Arcanine, and then start swinging. Because it has an attack where it's 90 plus 30 for each fighting poke energy attached to Arcanine. So it can ramp up really high if we hit hard with Dino Cry. But Dino Cry isn't the only way we're getting energies into our Pokemon. We got Lucario from Brilliant Stars. I really like this card. It was some sort of play and thought about start of Brilliant Stars meta when single prizes try to come out. But it's a really cool ability where you can just, once during your turn, put 2 damage counters on this Pokemon. If you do, attach a fighting energy. And then its other attack is 10 plus 60 for each, for just after you discard all your fighting energies, and kind of the 60 for each fighting energy you have discarded. Other ways how we can get some energies in a discard pile is through Radiant Greninja. Really good consistent draw engine, which you need in this deck, and a Drapion V because you want to have other attackers, because you can really struggle against other sort of decks, against Mew, because all of these can easily get KO'd or could be weak to it. So the Pokemon line is very simple, very standard, what you can see in this sort of Koraidon list. Lucario is a really good single prize attacker, while Arcanine is what your big closer. I do run Zapdos. You could argue to cut the Zapdos for a third Arcanine V because those are really, really strong and powerful in this list. But I think Zapdos is really good, especially for early game pressure, and kind of putting these pressure on Miraidon lists as well as some Arceus builds are really, really strong. We do run 14 energy, which is really high, so you've got to get a lot of energies in your hand, but we have loads of ways to discard them. We have Lake Acuity, so some of our Pokemon's HP is a lot higher. And we also have the new tool card where they take 30 less damage, which is really good. Where you think about it, Arcanine can also, that's additional 60 HP. That's 290 HP it can really nearly have for all of these additional effects, which is really good. We run 1 Forest Seal Stone and 1 Sky Steel Stone. Why do we run 1 of each? Forest Seal Stone is really powerful, really strong to get any card you might need in the necessary environment, as well as Sky Steel Stone could get that additional prize card you might need. Whereas, say, against a Regieleki VMAX, you can go, right, KO 1 Miraidon, then Sky Steel Stone, KO a Regieleki VMAX, which is really, really good. Support accounts very high with Boss, Research and Serena being a 2/2/4 of, as well as 2 pennies, which I just said, a way to bounce the Arcanines and Zapdos to try and heal as much as possible. And to go with as many quick discards, we run 4 Quick Ball and 4 Ultra Ball to get the Pokemon as much as we want. 4 Trekking Shoes, a way for you to just draw through the deck as quick as possible and have ways to get the fighting energies into discard. And Gutsy Pickaxe, just drawing the cards and also getting more cards into play with the energies. So you really want to try and get as many energies out as possible, switching cards as Skate Ropes for disruption and healing to an extent. And you want to get these Arcanines out really powerful, really strong. You have Lucarios and Koraidons to get these powerful up. And yeah, it's a really fun looking list. Fighting types haven't had like its own archetype for such a long time, and Koraidon could push it. It might be a bit too soon because if we look at the matchups, it's not exactly very positive. Oh yes, Miraidon and Arceus, it's pretty positive. Miraidon, like I just said about Sky Steel Stone, really swings it into your favor. So Miraidon can really struggle. Whereas Arceus box, sorry, excuse me, can keep up, especially if they have other attackers. But if you can get really early on to get these KOs on just focusing on the Arceus, you're in a really good spot. Now, having negatives against Mew, Giratina, Lost Zone, and Lugia Single Strike is really bad. And this deck really does have bad matchups. Yes, you do run Drapion, and that could be like, oh, I'm going to win because I run Drapion. Nope, you can easily lose still because Mew can do Mew things and absolutely draw you out of it and play Path. And you do play 3 counts, you can easily get out of it, but you could potentially lose a Stadium Wall. Tina, they hit hard, high HP. It could become a bit of a struggle. Lost Zone box, it does become a single prize, and sometimes they do have 2 prizes, so you can squeak a few wins here and there with it, but overall they can really plow through and hit hard, aggressively, and do some damage. Now, I would say it could maybe be more maybe like 40-60 or maybe even 45-55, because you can have Penny to like recycle, but you only run 2 pennies, and then yeah, it can become really tricky. And Lugia Single Strike, they resist you. You're not really going easy one-hit KOs, as well as it just can be really a bit of a struggle to get out of the matchups. So that's kind of why Koraidon isn't as strong, because it has really kind of like negative matchups around the board. And that's not what you want to have for this fighting type deck. But it's a really fun one. This is a kind of a little bit showcasing you can really help with the Arcanine and use Koraidon to try and get as many of these energies out as possible, and have like Acuity and the new tool card to try and beef up its HP as much as possible to try and swing for these one-hit KOs and really try and recycle. I know, it's a fun list. I've had some fun playing it and definitely coming up with a list. I'm like, oh, this is really could be working. But unfortunately right now, I don't think it's really good in the meta. But that all being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and this fun little deck profile looking at Koraidon EX. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like down below and consider subscribing if you're new. I will see you in a few days with another video. I will see you guys soon. Bye for now.